We've all got them. Those little quirks, those habits we kind of try to hide. But what if those supposed flaws aren't flaws at all? What if they're actually features? Today, we're going to decode 8 habits that science is now suggesting aren't just quirks, but might just be signatures of a highly intelligent mind. Seriously, think about it for a second. That strange need you have to organize your playlists into some kind of secret personal system, or the way you talk yourself through a problem when no one's around. Is that something you need to fix, or is it maybe a feature of your brain's unique operating system? You see, society is pretty quick to slap a label on these things: weird, lazy, anxious, awkward. But neuroscience, it sees a totally different story. These aren't just social flaws, they're cognitive adaptations. Think of them as powerful evolutionary tools, things that are literally hardwired into our neural circuitry as survival mechanisms that helped our ancestors outthink, outplan, and ultimately outlast everyone else. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this explainer. We are going to dive into 8 of these unusual habits, and we're going to look at them through the lenses of neuroscience, evolutionary history, and psychology to really get to the bottom of what they reveal about the way a complex brain works. So, here is the plan. First, we'll look at your brain's internal operating system. Then we'll explore how intelligent minds build order out of chaos. After that, we'll uncover the hidden advantage of seeing the world a little differently, explore the intensity of a highly principled mind, and finally, bring it all together to decode your own cognitive blueprint. All right, let's jump right in. Section 1. Your brain's operating system. This is all about those habits that show us how a really active mind manages and processes thoughts on the inside. First up, talking to yourself. Yeah, we're going there. Society's myth is that it's a sign of instability. But the reality? It's actually a high-performance cognitive tool. The mechanism has this fancy name, externalized metacognition, which is really just a way of saying you're thinking about your thinking, but out loud. When you verbalize your thoughts, you're essentially giving your working memory an audio file to work with. It helps you organize complex ideas, sharpen your focus. It's like you're debugging your own mental software in real time. And how about just staring off into space for long stretches? People might see it as being lazy or zoned out, but what's really happening in the brain is that the default mode network is kicking into high gear. This is the incubation period. It's when your conscious mind takes a back seat and your subconscious goes to work, connecting all these different ideas and running complex simulations. This is not procrastination. It's cerebral construction. That silence isn't empty space. For a complex mind, it's the loading screen for a major breakthrough. The trade-off, of course, is that from the outside, deep work can look an awful lot like doing nothing. Okay, next up, the chaos architect. This section is all about how intelligent minds don't just live in the world, they actively build systems to make sense of it. Have you ever created your own really elaborate systems for organizing, your files, your books, maybe even just your own thoughts? Well, that's not just some weird quirk. That's what you call structural intelligence in action. Your brain's prefrontal cortex is basically driven to find patterns and create order. So when the world outside feels chaotic, a highly intelligent brain will literally impose its own logic on top of it. It's this deep, abstract need to restructure reality to make it more efficient and more understandable. It's not really about being neat, it's about building a better operating system for your life. It shows a mind that doesn't just process information, it architects it. Now, let's talk about those intense, niche obsessions. 1 month you're deep into the history of ancient maps, and the next you're an expert on fungi. This is cognitive curiosity, and it's fueled by your brain's dopamine-driven reward system. A highly intelligent brain doesn't just want to know what something is, it has to know why and how. This kind of deep diving is a huge evolutionary advantage. Think about it. Innovation never comes from following the herd. It comes from chasing those weird, interesting threads that nobody else even sees. Sure, the trade-off is you might be the weird one at the party who knows way too much about Roman concrete, but the payoff is a mind that is an engine for discovery. All right, moving on to Section 3, the observer's advantage. This is all about the unique perceptual abilities that often come with high intelligence, which usually means seeing the world from a completely different angle than most people. Do you ever feel like you're on the outside of a group, just looking in? This isn't necessarily social awkwardness. It can actually be a byproduct of a cognitive ability called cultural frame switching. You're not lost in the social sauce. You're busy studying the recipe. This psychological distance is basically a superpower.
It lets you see the hidden rules, the unspoken assumptions, and the cultural programming that everyone else just takes for granted. The advantage here is huge. The observer who understands the group dynamic from the outside is way better equipped to navigate it. Now, the trade-off is that it can feel a bit lonely, but the payoff is a clarity of vision that is just incredibly rare.
Has anyone ever told you you're too sensitive? Let's reframe that right now. This is not an emotional flaw. It's an advanced social radar. It's your brain's pattern detection systems working on overdrive. You're picking up on micro-expressions, subtle shifts in someone's tone of voice, all that emotional data hidden between the words. You're not overreacting. You're just processing way more data than everyone else. This isn't a weakness. It's high-bandwidth data processing. The cost is, yeah, you can be vulnerable to emotional overload, but the benefit is you see the truth that other people miss.
Now for a really big one, a high-definition worldview. This is about the intense moral and logical frameworks that can drive highly intelligent minds.
Do you ever have this visceral, almost physical reaction to injustice or hypocrisy? People might call that dramatic, but it could be a sign of a high-resolution moral compass. For a highly logical mind, principles like fairness and consistency aren't just nice social suggestions. They are fundamental laws of how the world should operate. So when those laws get broken, it triggers this deep cognitive dissonance that feels like a personal violation. You don't just see the injustice, you feel the system error. This moral intensity can be exhausting, for sure, but it's also the engine that drives progress and demands a better world.
And finally, how about preferring to write a well-crafted email over having a spontaneous phone call? The myth is that you're just shy or have social anxiety. The reality? It's a demand for precision. This is basically structural engineering for your thoughts. Think about it. Spoken conversation is improv, writing is architecture. It lets you construct, revise, and deliver a complex idea with maximum clarity and absolutely zero ambiguity. For a mind that really values logic and precision, it's not about hiding, it's about getting it right.
So let's wrap this all up in our final section, your cognitive blueprint. How do all these habits come together to paint a complete picture of your brain's unique wiring?
So what does this all really add up to? Simulation, structuring, pattern spotting, incubation, clarification. You see, these aren't flaws. They are incredibly powerful cognitive tools. They are distinct evolutionary strategies that a modern brain uses to navigate a complex, chaotic, and deeply uncertain world. It's not weakness, it's wiring.
So here's the big takeaway. The next time you find yourself lost in some strange obsession or, arguing with yourself in the kitchen, I want you to remember this. You're not malfunctioning. You may just be running complex simulations in a brain that was literally built to conquer uncertainty. And that's not weird. That's a superpower.